Hi, my name is Sue, and aside from being a home improvement enthusiast, I'm also a professional videographer. So I'm usually on the other side of the camera. But I thought I would document the transformation that I'm making in my stairway so that you can see all the steps that I've gone through to make my outdated stairway really beautiful and up to date. So the first thing that I did is I went to the Stair Warehouse website, which is www.stairwarehouse.com. And what you'll find there are all kinds of options for baluster design and railing design. So I spent a lot of time on the site looking at all of their options. And then I actually went into Photoshop and designed my stairway using a combination of a digital image of my old stairway combined with digital images from the Stair Warehouse website, so I could see exactly how the balusters would look that I had chosen. Now, my balusters have not yet arrived, but there's lots of things that I can be doing between now and then, so I'm going to start showing you some of those things. I've made the decision to keep the newel posts on my stairway, keep the original railings. That's going to save me a lot of money. So all that I'm doing is taking out balusters and replacing them with new iron ones. So there's a couple steps that I'm doing before my balusters arrive, and that is I want to sand and paint my newel posts and my railings. And then I can begin to saw out the balusters. And you might think this is a scary step, but I can't tell you how easy it is, and I'll show you just how easy. Okay, this is a newel post. And this is a baluster, and these are the things that we're going to saw out and replace. And let me just show you how easy it is. Now, don't be afraid to do this. Remember, anything can be fixed, but it really is super simple. So I've got a little pull saw here. You can use any kind of saw. Just go for it. Just cut it right in half. Not a problem. Now the bottom part will probably it's not even glued in. It'll just come right out. The top part, you'll see up here there's a couple little brads holding that in. Just twist. Uh-oh. That one doesn't want to come out. Okay, just twist it. Loosen up those brads. And it will come right out. And then use some needle nose pliers to pull out the brads that are stuck in the top there. And I would suggest don't pull these all out until you're ready to put the new ones in, just for safety issues. You don't want to have areas where your dogs and your kids and yourself are not protected because balusters are gone. Since I'm going to be staining and painting these newel posts, I'm pulling out the balusters that are adjacent to the newel posts so that I have space to work here. Hey there, it's day 2 of my project, and don't think that this is something that takes days and days to do. It's just taking me a little while because I'm sanding and staining, not staining but painting all of my railings and newel posts, and I'm almost done with the sanding. What I'm using is my Bosch detail sander, which makes really quick work of doing this. And guess what? I got a call yesterday from the freight company, and the balusters will be here today. Now, one thing that I wanted to maybe redo a little bit from yesterday is pulling out balusters. Because if you remember yesterday, I said, oh, I was pulling out a baluster, and yeah, I was a little bit rough pulling out that baluster, and it took a little chunk of wood out of the top of the railing. So it's important to know where your brads are, and you can see it's really easy to tell where a brad is on the underside of the railing. And when you're pulling out a baluster that has brads attached, just gently twist, gently but firmly, twist back and forth to loosen up that brad. Don't just try to muscle it out, or you'll, pull a little chunk of wood out of the bottom of your railing. You don't want to do that. So let's take one more look at pulling out a baluster. Here I'm cutting through the baluster, and you can see that it just breaks really easy, just like that. Some of these bottom ones have had brads in them on the upper level. So I'm just going to gently twist that out. And see, it's just held in by a little dowel on the end of the baluster. But up here is where I've got brads. So I'm going to just gently twist one direction, gently twist another direction. You see what I'm doing? And this just loosens up those wire brads and it'll come right out. You can see those wire brads are attached right on the end there. I don't think I even have anything to dig out up there. So here's a shot of the stairway. You can see I've got some of the balusters cut out. I've got this railing sanded. I've got the newel post sanded. I'm just about ready to start priming. So I wanted to give you that shot as sort of a before shot on the stairway. This is exactly a week after I placed my order with Stair Warehouse. There's my iron balusters, 38 of them. So here are the balusters, and they just arrived via semi. There's 38 balusters and 38 shoes all wrapped up here, and so let's start tearing it open and see what we have. Okay, there we go, with all the plastic off. Here's how they're packed. Yeah, why don't you open one? Ooh, pretty. Hey, here's a little preview of what I've been able to get done in the last couple days. You see that my railing is painted black and my newel post is black. I have a couple things I want to show you though. Alright, see these holes down here on the bottom? Those are where the existing holes were for the old wood balusters. And I needed to make those holes just a little bit bigger. They're 5/8 of an inch and they need to be 3/4 of an inch. And what you'll find if you're doing the same thing is that your spade bit will jump around if you try to just enlarge the hole with a spade bit. So I called Stair Warehouse. Those guys are really great. And they said, what you do is you take like a 5/8 inch dowel. I cut mine down to 3/4 of an inch. I already expanded these holes. Pound it into the hole before you drill out the hole, and then that gives your spade bit something to bite into so it doesn't skip around. And that's especially important on the underside of the railing so that you don't damage the underside. Hi everyone, when you get your balusters, you need to plan on having to cut them down to the length that you need. And if you're not used to working with metal, cutting through a 1/2 inch solid piece of metal might seem a bit daunting, especially if, like me, you have to do it 40 times or more. So there's multiple ways that you can do that. You can use a hacksaw, you can buy a cutoff blade for your miter saw, you can use an angle grinder, or you can use a metal blade with a jigsaw. The angle grinder I've found for me is the fastest way to cut these down. I can cut through each one in about 90 seconds. Now you'll need to measure carefully, and on the website there's instructions for how to measure. And I use a piece of soapstone to mark where I need to make my cut. Now you'll need to secure this tightly to your workbench and make sure you use a rag so that you don't mar the finish. Secure it to your workbench. Make sure you've got adequate safety gear. I like using a full face shield when I'm working with metal or glass. And make sure you're not too tired when you do this. You want to make sure you're very alert.